Hello everyone, welcome back to CarBuyer Singapore and Happy New Year! And what better way is there to start the new year than to be here at the Singapore Motorshow. In no particular order, we're going to be taking a look at some of the interesting cars that have cropped up for this year's show. Let's get the show on the road then. And what better way to kick off the list of interesting cars than an electric G-Wagon. This is the Mercedes EQG Concept and it's a concept for now, but this thing when it makes production is going to be a quad motor off-roader that's fully electric. Now the quad motor system doesn't just give it loads of power, it also helps with torque vectoring, and this thing can even do tank turns on low traction surfaces, so essentially it works like a tank. It's a concept, but we have it on good authority that the car will come sometime this year, maybe towards the end of the year. As for how much it will cost, you should expect to pay a lot of money for one of these. Now while we're at the Mercedes booth, I'm going to pop over to the AMG side of things and take a look at this, the Mercedes-AMG C63S e-Performance. Very long name, and yes, it no longer has a V8. Now instead of a V8 under the hood of this car, Mercedes has opted for a plug-in hybrid system with a 2-speed electric motor and a 2-litre 4-cylinder engine, codenamed the M139, which we've seen in many other tiny baby AMGs, but in this case it produces 476 horsepower. Combine that with a 204 horsepower electric motor, this peaks at 680 horsepower and 1020 Newton meters of torque. Now because it's plug-in hybrid, it's quite heavy, over 2.1 tons, but it's very quick. 0 to 100 in 3.4 seconds, so not complaining about the speed, but the lack of V8 noise is going to be sad for a lot of us. Moving on, so of all the cars here at the Motor Show, this is the prettiest thing of them all. This is the Polestar electric Roadster concept, and basically it's a concept car that previews what the upcoming Polestar 6 Roadster is going to be like. So this is actually based on the Polestar Precept, which is the concept of what the Polestar 5 is going to be, and it's a 2+2-seater Roadster. So Polestar targets this car to produce 884 horsepower, 900 Newton meters of torque, have a 0 to 100 sprint time of 3.2 seconds at a top speed of 250 km per hour. Now Polestar plans to put this car into production in 2026, and you should expect it to have a price tag of around 1 million Singapore dollars when you factor in our local taxes and such. Moving on again. This is one of the cars that makes me glad I still have a job as a motoring journalist. This is the Hyundai Ioniq 5N, and it's the most powerful production Hyundai today. Well, on the outset, it looks pretty much like an Ioniq 5 with the aggression factor turned up to 11. You've got plenty of black accents, red trim pieces, sportier wheels, a few end badges here and there. But the crazy part about this car is under the hood and the back, it has two motors that produce a combined output of 608 horsepower by default. But on boost, it goes up to 650 horsepower. So it does 0 to 100 in 3.4 seconds. So inside you've also got plenty of end-specific bits like these toggle switches on the steering wheel. You've also got end-specific buttons, a bucket seat with illuminated inserts, and a fixed center console. I mean, you're going to need all these when you're trying to rein in 650 horsepower, or when you're burning your tires up in a cloud of white smoke. So prices for this car are unconfirmed at the moment, but we do know that the Ioniq 5N will be coming to Singapore sometime in the second half of 2024, and I can't wait. My hands are full, but now that I'm at the Hyundai booth, let me just give some honourable mentions to 3 cars. Starting off with this, the Avante Hybrid. Yes, comes as a hybrid now. It's a facelifted model and it starts at $165,999. Next is the Ioniq 6 Cat A version rear-wheel drive. Comes with a 53 kWh battery that has 429 km of range, but starts at $188,888. This Robocop looking thing, the Kona Electric. Now this starts at $156,888, has a 48.6 kWh battery, but has a range of 456 km. Pretty affordable, spacious inside, and the chassis is actually very well done, so I think this is one to look out for. And now we have another all-electric vehicle from Aura, the same people that made the good cat that ferried me from Thailand to Singapore. Now this one's called the Aura 07, although it's called the Lightning Cat in certain markets, and it's a sort of 4-door coupe fastback stout sedan that has a little bit of Porsche design hints as well as Bugatti. Really Bugatti design cues. The car is expected to arrive in Singapore sometime in the second half of 2024, although the exact variant of the car isn't confirmed yet. But this show car here comes from Thailand, and it's a dual-motor 408 horsepower model that goes from 0 to 100 in 4.3 seconds. We can only hope that this is the model that comes to Singapore. This is the third and smallest vehicle to join Audi's range of e-tron all-electric vehicles. It's a Q4 e-tron, and it's a compact crossover that comes in both a SUV or a Sportback coupe SUV style, roughly the same size as the Audi Q3. So here in Singapore, we should expect the Q4 Sportback e-tron to make it to our shores in both the Sportback as well as the standard SUV silhouettes. So it will have a 77 kWh battery pack, a 286 horsepower motor, and a claimed range of 544 km on the WLTP cycle. Now, we should expect the car to arrive sometime in the middle of 2024, but prices are unconfirmed at the moment, so stay tuned. This is a Kia EV9 and it's the brand's new flagship all-electric SUV. And apparently it's the only 6-seater large SUV in its segment in Singapore. Now, under its large body shell, it has a 99.8 kWh battery and a dual motor drivetrain that produces 380 horsepower, 700 Newton meters of torque. Goes from 0 to 100 in 6 seconds, and it should cost round about $290,000 before COE. That's quite a lot. But it's big and it's impressive, so I think there will be a market for this. Welcome to M-Town. Let me introduce you to the BMW i5 M60. Pretty much the most powerful 5 Series until the new M5 comes out later this year. This has a dual motor drivetrain that produces 601 horsepower, 820 Newton meters of torque, and it goes from 0 to 100 in 3.8 seconds. Basically, think of this as an i5 with the aggression factor turned up to 11. Of course, it's not going to be as aggressive as the M5 when it comes out. But anyway, on this side of the room, we have the ICE-powered X1 M35i. We have a 2-litre turbocharged engine that produces 300 horsepower, 400 Newton meters of torque. Goes from 0 to 100 in 5.4 seconds, and it looks quite similar to the X1 with in the M Sport trim. We've got red brake calipers, larger 20-inch rims, and badges everywhere, and you've also got a few chassis tweaks under the skin and compound brakes and such, and a fruitier exhaust note. But these aren't the most, shall I say, interesting cars here at the BMW booth at the Singapore Motorshow. What's more interesting are the Cat A cars that are just behind there. So let's go. At first glance, this might look like a regular old BMW X1 until you start noticing some details like the smoothed off grille and the blue outline on the badge. That's because it's the iX1. We actually drove this car in Germany, although that one was the more powerful all-wheel drive version. This, however, is the eDrive 20, and especially for Singapore, it's been detuned so it produces 147 horsepower, 250 Newton meters of torque. That also means it is a Cat A CUV car. So it starts at $240,888. You get 474 km of claimed range and rated for 17.5 kilowatts per 100 km, so it's actually quite efficient. I think this is going to be the hot pick among many Singaporeans because, well, Cat A, BMW, what's not to like? And it's electric. So now we're done with one Cat A EV car, let's move on to another Cat A ICE car. This is the all-new BMW X2 and it's basically the coupe SUV equivalent of the X1. Now, this particular one is an ICE version. There's no electric version coming just yet. But this is the X2 xDrive 16i, which means you get a 1.5-litre 3-cylinder engine that makes 122 horsepower, 230 Newton meters of torque. Starts at $233,888, and I think this is the more, should I say, the more youthful offering between the two because, well, coupe SUV should appeal to the younger masses. You've also got nice M bits because this is the M Sport trim car. M badges, nicer rims, sportier leather seats, and a new taillight design that's actually quite interesting. But between these two, it'd be interesting to see which one of these Cat A BMW SUVs picks up. Personally, I'll go for this because save the earth, clean, electric. Yeah. This is the Volvo EX30 and it's Volvo's new small electric crossover, and it's interesting for a number of reasons. Firstly, it is the Volvo that's designed to have the lowest carbon footprint of any production Volvo to date. That means it's very environmentally conscious, or rather the materials used in this car are very sustainably sourced. Also, it is a small SUV, but it has very impressive metrics. This car here is a single motor extended range variant, and it has a single motor in the rear that produces 272 horsepower, 343 Newton meters of torque, and a claimed range of 475 km on a single charge. Also, this Volvo is built in an all-new Geely platform called the SEA platform, and well, it shares that with many other cars within the Geely group, but that gives the designers a lot more wiggle room to design this car from scratch. So up front, it looks unlike any Volvo we've seen to date. You've got the signature logo and the stripe going through here, but the grille itself is flat. These DRLs are sort of evocative of the ones we've seen on the EX90 Concept, although they don't split. So you've got your main beam here and your high beams Ouch! So I just spotted this really cool graphic on the rear tailgate that actually shows the dimensions of the boot and the interior, so that you know if you can fit your stroller to golf bag, even a lamp. I mean, it's really cool, honestly. So as I said earlier, this car has the lowest carbon footprint of any Volvo to date. So many of these materials on the dashboard and the door cards are recycled. Even the seats, which are made of sourced from flax or denim or even some wool blend that has polyester in it. But it actually looks pretty nice in here. I mean, you've got a portrait-oriented screen. You've got no gauge cluster, but your essential readouts are all here. Gear lever is here. There's a note that says "Do not touch." Oh, actually, the aircon is quite strong. And your wing mirrors, no, your window switches are here. Now, because this car is so minimalist, you do not get any window controls or wing mirror adjustments on the actual door card itself, so you do have to dig in somewhere. Having everything housed on a single screen might get a little bit worrisome. But hey, if you're young and hip and you are very in tune with modern technology, I think this wouldn't be too difficult for you. There's a cup holder here, I don't know how to open it. Okay. Edit my struggling out. So that's all we have time for here at the Singapore Motor Show. Obviously, given time constraints and the fact that there is a lot of human traffic, we can't cover everything here at the show. But do check out carbuyer.com/, because we will have a full, in-depth story on the cars that are coming at the Motor Show or coming to Singapore for this year. So that's it for now. Do subscribe to us on YouTube and like us on Facebook, follow us on TikTok, Instagram, all our social channels. This is CarBuyer Singapore. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you again the next time.